Hello everybody, and this is 00greenbean00, and I'm back with another battle. This one was against SelkiesFTW, or FTW, from the Smogon forums, and here we go. So, I lead with my fortress, and he leads with a Metagross, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's just a Metagross, whatever. So, he goes for the Earthquake, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know I can survive an Earthquake, I'll just start setting up my spikes. And I set up me spikes, and then I go for another layer of spikes as he switches out. I was like, alright, true. And brings in a Jirachi, and I'm thinking, alright, to switch into Jirachi, you've got to have, like, Fire Punch or something. So I switch out to Heat Ran to absorb the Flaming Fist Punch, and I made the correct assumption because it was a Fire Punch. And so at this point, I'm like, alright, I'm just going to Flamethrower anyway because it's powered up, and regardless of what switches in, I can get a little fire, yes. And it's a Latias, which sucks because it's not going to do too much damage, but does a decent amount, considering Flash Fire. So I switch out to Lantern to take the Surf, and Lantern obviously absorbs Surfs very well, as he always tends to do. Sorry, this one's female, but whatever. Yeah, so he Dragon Pulses, and Dragon Pulse is pretty powerful, so I'm like, ooh, not cool. So I Thunder Wave, because this thing's fast, and I'm going to slow it down ASAP. I'm just going to put a wall on its sweeping. And that was a good call. So now I just start Ice Beaming away and slowly lowering its health as it Dragon Pulses continuously. But I know in, like, I can take as many Dragon Pulses as it throws, it'll die by the time I get anywhere near death. So I go for another Ice Beam, and he switches out to Metagross to take the Ice Beam, which is a good play because obviously Metagross is just going to absorb the Ice Beam very easily. And I believe I switch into Fortress. Yes, I switch into Fortress next because I'm like, okay, true, it's Metagross. It's probably going to Earthquake or something, so Fortress, get in there and do yo thing. But it actually Meteor Mashes, and that doesn't... That's actually probably a worse move than Earthquake, but you know, whatever. Trying to raise its attacks. And I still wasn't sure what this thing was. I thought it was like Bandit or something because it kept Meteor Mashing, but yeah, and it got a crit there, which sucked because it made Fortress almost useless. But I've got 3 layers of spikes up now, which is freaking sweet because spikes hurt people when you step on them. And he's just mashing away, and I set up Reflect because I'm like, alright, if I set up Reflect, I'll get one more turn out of Fortress if I keep it in. But y'all know that I don't actually keep it in. I switch out to stay in. I stay in, and he Agilities, and I'm like, oh crap, I went for the payback, because I thought maybe it would hit me, but it didn't, so that sucks. But, yeah, so now I'm like, alright, it's probably going to Meteor Mash again, so I switch out to Arcanine, but it actually Earthquakes this turn, which sucks. So there goes that plan, and I was like, oh no, please, please don't kill me. But it only did like half, which surprised me, but I am not complaining. You know what? That is awesome for me. So now I switch out to Miss Mages because I'm like, alright, it's going to Earthquake again, whatever, I need a free turn. And now comes my ingenious plan, because I know now it's got a Meteor Mash. So I'm like, Heat Rain, get into Earth. And he Meteor Mashes. And even with Agility, I'm Scarfed, so I'm still going to be faster. So I go for the Flamethrower. And boom shakalaka boom, I burned you to a crisp edge, cause you is dead now. Waka waka yeah yeah. Yeah, I just did that, in case you're all wondering. So, Metagross is downed, and now it's Togekiss, and I'm like, alright, Togekiss, probably some kind of flinch thing. Let's go Lantern. And it Thunder Waves, and I was like, oh, sweetness. Now I know it's flinch, guaranteed. So I absorb the Thunder Wave and gets all my health back, and now it Air Slashes, and I'm like, hey, whatever, Air Slash is pretty useless. So I'm going to go for Thunderbolt, see how much I can do. And it does a decent amount. I mean, Togekiss has got a good special defense. And by decent, I mean it did half, which was pretty good. Lordy, it's been a long day. So it's just Air Slashing away, and I'm like, alright, I'm just going to Thunder Wave you, because this flinching is getting pretty annoying, and I don't want to be flinching or return. So I just go for the Thunder Wave, and thankfully the next move misses, so I got pretty lucky there, and that gets me Paralysis up. And now I'm like, alright, I'm just going to Thunderbolt this thing to death. But I knew that it was probably going to switch to Latias, but I was like, alright, I'm going to go for Thunderbolt anyway, whatever. You know, whatever happens, happens. And a Thunderbolt, and now it's pretty much at enough health that one Ice Beam should, or 1 or 2 Ice Beams should pretty much kill it. So I'm like, alright, true, I'm going to just Ice Beam you, foo. A little rhymage. And yeah, so one Ice Beam knocks out the Latias, and even though it's shiny, it can't withstand the power of a lantern. Oh, brr. So now it's Porygon Z, and I'm like, alright, I don't know what you're gonna do. And it Dark Pulsed. He Dark Pulsed, thinking I was probably gonna switch back to Miss Magus to take a Tri-Attack, but I stayed in and I went for a Thunder Wave to slow this one down. Man, I was just firing off Thunder Waves left, right, and center. I was like, bzz, 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 bzz. Yeah, so he switches out to Jirachi as I go for the Surf. And, yeah, Surf doesn't, I don't think it does a whole chunk of damage to Jirachi, but it does a decent amount. And at this point I was like, alright, true, let's bring in Moo, because Moo can absorb the Fire Punch or whatever it ends up doing. And it goes for the Iron Head, and I'm like, oh lord. And it gets a crit, and I was like, ew, that's ugly, I don't like that. And so we're both getting lefties, and now my goal is to set up Stealth Rocks, but he gets in a bunch of flinches here, and I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna die, and so I change my plan, and I'm like, alright, Milk Drink before I set up rocks. But no, he gets a flinch again, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not too bad. I just get a Milk Drink now, and I should be okay. And of course, he goes for Iron Head again, and what the hell do you think happens? I get Milk Drink, which is lucky. I get Milk Drink, which is lucky. So yeah, I thought I was gonna flinch there again, but I didn't. And so now I'm like, alright, true, I'm just gonna set up rocks, and then I can switch out to Heatran to take the Iron Head very easily, because Iron Head will do like 8% of my total health. So I'm just like, alright, gotta get rocks up, because rocks and 3 layers of spikes is devastating. Like, it cripples whole teams. So I get up rocks, and I'm like, oh, sweet, swoosh, there's the rocks. And so I switch out to Heatran to take the Iron Head, and here we go. Oh, it's Heatran! And so he Iron Heads, and I guess he thought he was faster here, so I just go for the Flamethrower anyway, and that knocks out his Jirachi, which is awesome. That's a nice thing. I don't think he figured out completely that this thing was scarfed until probably about right now, which kind of sucks, because I was faster than everything that it was against. So yeah, Porygon Z comes out, and I'm like, alright, here we go. There goes 25% of your health from spikes. There goes the remaining. I can just Flamethrower you, and you're dead. Goodbye, Porygon Z. Bye-bye. Yeah, little Heatran sweepage, which was awesome. And now Togekiss comes out, and Heatran cannot kill Togekiss, so I switch out to Miss Magus, hoping it would like Aura Sphere, but it went for the Air Slash instead, and I was like, ah, don't die! But it only did half health, which was awesome. And so at this point I'm like, alright, let's just Thunderbolt and see if this thing dies. And it's a good thing I Thunderbolted, because, in fact, it does die. Holla! And so now he brings in his last Pokemon, which I hadn't seen for the whole battle, and it was Scizor. And I was like, okay, I don't know what this one is. Is it Banded? Is it Swords Dance? I was like, okay, it's probably Swords Dance. Let's go to Heatran. And then he's superpowered, and I was like, ah, crap. There goes Heatran. But thankfully, I still had Arcanine, so I switch in me Arcanine, and I double drop his attack by like 2 stages because he used superpower, so it obviously went down by 1 already. And I Flare Blitz, and I knock him out. Yay, team. So, good battle. Selkie for to win. I'm also, just gonna throw this out there, I'm accepting challenges from anyone on YouTube because I want to broaden my horizons of battling because, you know, that's how people roll. So, if you're on YouTube, PM me if you want to battle. I'm always down. Rate, comment, like, all those fun things. And yes, enjoy life.